Europe and all. I call now Senator Risa Hontiveros to say the contribution of Philippine parliamentarians and her party. Senator Risa, please.
Salamat kasamang Dong. Good afternoon to Minister Lian Sakhong. Buongiorno to Senator Cassini. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, dear colleagues. It has been said that over the course of our lives, we have a responsibility to help our neighbors. I strongly believe this saying. And right about now, one of our neighbors is in dire need of assistance. For me, this is the overarching theme of our meeting today. The ASEAN's avowed shared belief in democracy means that Myanmar's fight is our fight too. That supporting the fight for a more free, just, and peaceful Myanmar is not only for its citizens. Addressing the political and humanitarian crisis in Myanmar is also in the best interest of the Philippines, the entire ASEAN, and humanity itself. I urge that the Philippines, being a founding member of the ASEAN, continue to be actively involved in ensuring we uphold just peace in the region. Earlier this year, the Philippines called on Myanmar to adhere to the ASEAN Human Rights Declaration. The forthcoming UN General Assembly in September is another window of opportunity for all of us to once again stand up and use our voices together. We must help stop all attacks, even intimidation of workers, protesters, and most especially ethnic minorities such as the Rohingya. The doctrine of responsibility to protect commands all of us. This is why I would also like to publicly express my support for the National Unity Government to lead in the restoration of democracy in Myanmar. Empowering the NUG is a huge step towards peace, and I encourage the international community to do the same. Join us in recognizing the NUG's critical role in returning order and fundamental freedoms to its home. They are counting on us, the regional and international community, to help them achieve a successful democratic transition. At the same time, I trust that the NUG holds true to its commitment to do right by the Rohingya. After enduring years of discrimination and clearance operations, they must now be protected from violence and other forms of abuses. Hence, I support the NUG's call for seeking justice and accountability for crimes committed against them. This is an assurance that their fundamental human rights are not lost. The Rohingyas born in Myanmar should also be granted their right to citizenship because they are undeniably part of the fabric and the future of Myanmar. The NUG should remain steadfast in pursuing reparations. This journey towards a more peaceful and inclusive Myanmar is a journey worth taking. Since the military coup in February, massive reports of the deaths and desolation in Myanmar have been pushed out of international headlines because of the scourge of COVID-19, especially now with the Delta variant. But this does not mean that the heartbreaking mass atrocities have ceased. Citizens are still fleeing and seeking refuge in neighboring countries. Peaceful protesters continue to be disturbed. The opposition is still repressed. But the military cannot keep going against ASEAN's avowed pursuit of democratic forms of governance. Let's get something straight. Military rule does little to fight off COVID-19. The economy does not flourish when the government cannot meet the needs on the ground, and even worse, when it declares labor organizations illegal. Education and health do not thrive when people are held at gunpoint. There can be no prosperity without peace, and no peace without justice. As chair of the Philippine Senate Committee on Women, Children, Family Relations, and Gender Equality, I would especially like to remind everyone that women and children suffer the most in conflicts. This conflict is destroying opportunities for all of them the longer it drags on. Let us make sure they are not rendered invisible. These women and children have a right to security. They have a right to dignity. They deserve a second chance at a future that is bright and prosperous. Let us show the citizens of Myanmar that we hear their call and that they are not merely hearing echoes from the void. The burden may seem overwhelming, but it's about time the region shows the kind of urgency that befits an international humanitarian emergency. Thank you so much, everyone.